TikFinity is used by over 1 million streamers to help boost engagement in their TikTok live streams. The power of this platform allows everyone to have a totally unique setup. So let's get this set up, and this guide is for both Windows and Mac, and it works well on Live Studio, OBS and Streamlabs. For Android or iOS, check out TikStream. I'll put a link to TikStream's app in the description alongside my tutorial. If you're on Windows, do not use the website. Instead, download the TikFinity desktop app, which I'll put on screen and in the description. It has more features and is more stable. But if you are on a Mac, then just use the TikFinity website. I'll also put that on screen and in the description. Nearly everything in this video can be done for free, but both of those links are affiliate links, and they'll give you a permanent discount if you ever choose to upgrade to Pro, and they'll also support my work. So let's begin. On the setup page of TikFinity, click setup on the left, and of course start by creating an account and just logging into TikFinity, followed by adding your username, but you don't have to click the connect button. We can proceed to setting up TikFinity without pressing this button. Our next step is to click TikTok login on the left and click login to TikTok. And our basic setup is now complete. And we're going to begin on one of the most popular TikFinity pages. We're going to click on sound alerts on the left. And this one is really simple. You can trigger any sound based on a gift, subscribe, share, or follow. You can see I've got a row set up to play a fart sound. Let's rapidly set another one up just by clicking create sound alert. You just choose the trigger from the drop down list, for example a GG coin. And you can either upload your own sound, or you can choose from a sound library from my instance. Let's click select sound and either click upload or choose from the massive library of sounds here. They've got all of the popular internet sounds. For example, I can just apply the Vine boom sound, and I can then press the play icon to test that it's working. Let's quickly do that. So that's working fine. And then for the viewers to hear that on PC or Mac, all I have to do is check that my audio is added properly. So for most of us, that's making sure that our headphones are properly added to Live Studio, OBS or Streamlabs. And then cross-check that with your volume mixer and make sure the output is also set to your headset. If you are streaming from a phone, then just play these sounds out of your PC speakers, and your phone microphone should pick up the sounds with no problems. If that's all configured properly, then in my example, every time someone sends a rose or a GG, it's going to play either the fart sound or the Vine boom sound. I suggest all of the default settings that you see on the screen, and if you want to just rapidly turn all of your sound alerts off, you just check this box and it's turned them all off. Or of course, you can just individually turn them off. Next up, let's click on the TTS chat page. So you can use text-to-speech to read out loud chat messages that your viewers send. Here is just a quick example.
Testessor says this is an example chat message.
And you can configure this however you want, but let's go through my configuration. So of course, firstly, it's just enabled, and US language is fine for most people. And then you can choose from a massive variety of voices. As you can see, I had Ghostface. You can also just randomize the voice. And 50/50 is default for speed and pitch, but you can make the voice sound different by tweaking those. And medium volume seems fine for me. Now, if you want true chaos, you might let everybody use these, but keep in mind people can abuse it. So if you're going to let everyone use it, you might want to add some keywords to your block list on the TikTok app. I prefer just to let the people who pay to support me use it. It's a nice little perk and incentive for people to subscribe and gift. So this is my configuration. Of course, the subscribers, team members, and top gifters, they're all sending me money, so I let them use the text-to-speech alongside my moderators. And in this example, they have to type a dot before their message for the text-to-speech to be read out loud. I think for most people, one of these bottom three options is good because not everyone often wants their message read out loud. And we'll cover channel points more in depth later, but for most people, I don't think it's worth using. If you are going to give all users access, then maybe consider charging channel points. The bottom of this page is just to test it and some spam protection. So as you can see here, I'm only letting the same viewer type one text-to-speech message every 20 seconds. You might want to be more lenient than that. And it puts them in a queue up to 20 TTS messages. And the max comment length, of course, just stops people from spamming really long messages. But also I find this one useful. I put brackets username says brackets comment. If you just have it on the default, which is brackets comment, then it's harder to know who's speaking because it just reads out loud the text to speech. and you don't know which viewer is saying it without looking directly at your chat. So that's especially useful when you're gaming or focusing on something. Once again, to get that to work inside Live Studio, OBS, or Streamlabs, just make sure your headset is added, and then make sure in your volume mixer, the headset is added in your volume mixer as well, basically your default audio, and it will work great. So what we've shown so far, you don't actually have to directly add anything into your software, but for most aspects of TikFinity, you have to add the relevant URL into Live Studio, OBS, or Streamlabs. So let's now look at how to correctly add URLs into your software. The most common page for this will be the Actions and Events page, but there's also URLs in Overlay Gallery, Goal Overlays, Last X Overlays, and in other places. As our example, and because most people will use it, let's click onto the Actions and Events page. If you get a pop-up like this, for now, let's just click No. And then let's click on Overlay Screen Settings, and you can see all these different URLs. And you can see mine says Screen 1 is ready. So for most of us, we're only going to need to use Screen 1 from this section. So I'm going to click on it to copy it to my clipboard. And then you're going to open your software. For me, my software is Live Studio. Regardless, find the Add Source button, and in Live Studio it's called a link source, in OBS or Streamlabs it's called a browser source. So head into those settings and Control V to paste the link, and then the custom resolution sets the dimensions of whatever TikFinity feature you're adding, and this is the best way to customize the dimensions of it. For now, I'm going to add in Screen 1 as 500 by 300, and we'll see why later. And I'm going to keep the sound turned on as well, and just press Add Source. Now let's do some best practices. Let's right click, rename our source. So this one was called TikFinity Screen 1. So I've right clicked, renamed it, and I've named it to TikFinity Screen 1. And let's click on it to see where it is. And you can see it's now been added. And in this example, anything we add to the Actions and Events page will be displayed within this red box. And we'll do a ton of individual examples shortly. For now, I'm just going to drag it around and center it in the middle of the screen. And just so you guys can actually see it better for this tutorial, I'm going to click Fit to Screen as well. Once again, you can repeat that process for adding URLs from any page of TikFinity. For example, you can see in the Overlay Gallery, there's a ton of different links here with the Copy URL button. And you basically just play around with the dimensions to get it looking good inside your software. In this section, we're going to rapidly set up TikFinity using the predefined alerts. This is going to rapidly give us some subscribe, like, coin, and follow alerts within just a few seconds. So let's head to the Actions and Events page, and this is what they will look like, and I'll show you how to get them. If you have any actions and events already on the page, just delete all of them. And you should see at the top this pop-up which says click here to import predefined alerts. So you just click that button. And of course, it's telling you to add Screen 1 to your software, and we've already done that in the previous section. So go back to the timestamp for adding URLs if you haven't done that yet, and then press OK. And just like that, we have actions and events for follows, gifts, likes, and subs. And we can see underneath events, it's for 100 plus likes or 1 plus coins, i.e. any gift. And of course, all subscribes and follows. So there's two ways to simulate that to test that it's working. You either press the play buttons next to the action, or better yet, click to the event simulator at the bottom of the page. For example, let's simulate a gift. This is going to make a sound while I'm speaking. And my Live Studio actually bugged out there while I was testing it. It should work fine while you're live, but sometimes you might just have to restart Live Studio while you're testing. But anyway, if we make a second attempt to simulate the gift, you can hear the sound, and now we can see it properly displayed inside Live Studio. And once again, if you want to tweak the dimensions, just click into the settings and change the dimensions here. Or you can also unlock it and click on it and drag the corners. But it's always best to try the dimensions first. And with your predefined alert set up, you could just go live with TikFinity and not use any other features. But I think it's really best to customize it, because as I mentioned at the start, it's always best to have your own unique setup. So let's look at a ton of examples on how to set up your own unique stuff. Let's look at how to create your own unique alert for every new follow. And here's my example. So in this example, we're playing both a sound, we've got a little animation in the background, and of course we put their profile picture and text on the screen saying thanks for following. So we start this on the actions and events page. And once again, make sure you have Screen 1 added as a URL, and watch the URL section of this video if you don't have it added yet. And we make a new action and a new event. So let me show you the action. Of course, give your action a name such as follow alert. or you can describe it in more detail to show what you're doing. And in my example, I showed an animation, so that box is checked, and I chose from the over 300 animations that TikFinity has. And I checked the play audio box as well, and I just used the My Instance sound library, and I just chose the anime wow sound, so I applied that. But you can also just click select file and upload any file that you have. And by default, it's already showing the profile picture and their username. So we just typed thanks for following. And you can click this colorful square to change the color. For example, I could change it to yellow. And the global overlay settings gives you even more control over how the text looks. For example, at the bottom, I could disable the profile picture. But in general, the defaults are fine, so I'll press OK. And you can, of course, just play around with that as you want. All of the other defaults on this page are fine, but I'm going to reduce this to about 5 seconds, maybe even 3 seconds for a follow. And the other defaults are fine, so I'll press save. And you need to create a new event now. And of course, the event is a follow. So everyone can trigger it. And where it says by what will the event be triggered, that is a follow. And you just click the drop down list and choose your follow alert. There we go. You don't need to randomize anything here, so you just press save. And now, of course, we can just test it by pressing the play icon here. Or, of course, we can just scroll down and press simulate follow. And as you can hear, the sound is playing over me and the text showed on the screen. Let's look at how to add an alert for all gifts. In this example, I'm putting the famous KEKW image on the screen alongside the username and the number of gifts that the viewer has sent. So we're once again on the actions and events page of TikFinity. And as per usual, make sure screen one is added as a URL and go back to the section of the video where I added it. And then let's go back up to the actions and events, and you need a new action to begin with. You can see I've named this one generic gift alert because it's triggered by all gifts. And of course you can choose any of these options. In my example, I've checked the show picture / GIF option, and I've just uploaded my own image of the KEKW guy. And we're also putting the text on the screen, so I checked the show alert user plus text box. And to make sure you type these correctly, you can just highlight them down here. So you want brackets repeat count and just press Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V to copy and paste. And you want bracket gift name. So for example, if I send you 10 roses, it says thanks for 10 roses. Once again, you can click the square to customize the color, and you can change even more settings in the global overlay settings. But the defaults are fine for me, and we don't need any of these other checkboxes. You want to set yourself a duration. I'm going to choose about 5 seconds for that. For this one, it's important that you leave repeat with gift combos unchecked. So this is fine as it is, and we'll press save. And of course, we now need an event. So create your new event. Let's look at the event. Everyone can trigger it, and it's sending a gift with minimum coins value. In our example, it's all gifts, so it's just set to 1 coins. If you do get too many gifts, which is of course a good problem to have, you might want to raise it, for example, to 100, but I'll just leave it on 1. And of course, from this drop-down list, make sure you select the generic gift alert. Again, we're not randomizing the actions in this one, so we'll leave that blank and we'll press save. And as long as you've got screen 1 added, you should now be able to test it with the simulator at the bottom of the page. Just choose a random gift. So if I press simulate now, you can see it's now popped up on the screen, and you can see the text is at the top and the image is at the bottom. And the way I was able to do that is by going into my link or browser source settings, and I increase the height in this example to 800. If I lower this back to 300 as it was before and press apply, and then if I just put it in the middle of the screen again, if we go back to test this in TikFinity now, you can see the text is over the image. So depending on how you want it, just change the image dimensions so the text is either below or over the image, and then just keep testing until you're happy. And we now have an alert for all gifts. Next up, let's look at how to trigger an alert when you receive a specific gift. In my example here, I've set up a specific alert for a money gun. So let's simulate the gift and hear and see what it looks like.
Test user thanks for 1 money gun.
So in this example, the text is on the screen, there's an animation in the background, and this time on top, I've added text to speech as well. So once again, to get this set up, we're on the actions and events page. As per usual, make sure screen 1 is added to OBS, Live Studio, or Streamlabs, and check the relevant section earlier in this video to do that. And let's head back to the top of the page and create a new action for your specific gift. In my example, it's called a money gun alert. And of course, once again, you can choose any of the options from the list. In this example, I've chosen the money animation and I just typed it to find it. In fact, this is the money stack animation, and I've chosen it from over 300 different animations that TikFinity has. Under show alert user plus text, it's thanks for brackets repeat count brackets gift name. And once again, you can just highlight and press Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V to make sure that you type them correctly. Once again, you can customize the color and any of the global overlay settings to change what the text on the screen looks like. The defaults are typically fine, but this time I've activated text to speech. And basically you can Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, copy paste this text, but then all you need to do is copy the brackets username at the start, because otherwise it won't read out the username by default. You can test to hear what it sounds like.
Username thanks for repeat count gift name.
You can of course randomize the voice or choose any other available voice. And in this example, all of the other defaults are fine. I'm once again gonna lower the duration. Let's try 5 seconds. Once again, do not check repeat with gift combos for this one. Defaults are fine, like I said, so press save. And of course, we need a matching event. So create a new event and let's look at what it looks like. Once again, everyone can trigger it, but this time we are sending a specific gift and you choose the gift from the list. In my example, it's a money gun. And once again, just make sure you select the correct action from the list. We're not randomizing the actions, so that is blank and you press save. And once again, as per usual, we can test it by pressing the play icon, or better yet, we can simulate it with the event simulator. It's going to read out loud, so let's press the simulate button.
Test user thanks for 1 money gun.
And as you can see, everything is playing as intended. And you could, of course, repeat those steps for other gifts, basically as many gifts as you want, until you hit the free limit of TikFinity, or of course, check earlier on where I mentioned the pro discount as well. Let's do one final example of a gift alert. And in this example, we're going to use repeat with gift combos, which we've had turned off so far. And what we're going to do is play a sound for every single TikTok gift that we receive. So let me simulate it for you off screen. I'm going to press it 3 times to simulate it and we'll see what happens. And as you saw, it's played the pew sound 3 times and displayed the text 3 times. So instead of saying, Harry, thanks for 3 TikTok gifts, it's just said, thanks for TikTok gift 3 times and played the sound. So as we've said many times, make sure screen 1 is added to your software and check the URL section earlier on in this video if you don't have it added. And then let's look at the action. And of course, we'll need an event as well. So create yourself a new action. And in our example, we're playing the pew pew sound for a TikTok gift. So I've named it TikTok gift alert. I've chosen the well done animation to go in the background of the text. And once again, I've used the sound library here and just chosen the pew pew gift and pressed apply to add it. You can of course upload your own sound instead if you want. And instead of thanks for repeat count gift name, because it's always going to be one of the gift, we just need brackets gift name. And again, of course, you can copy and paste it. You can once again change the color and customize the global overlay settings to change the look of the alert on your screen. But let's scroll down for the key settings here. I'm going to make this really low because it's going to appear a lot of times. For example, I've got it set to 1 second. If I get 10 TikTok gifts, that's already 10 seconds worth of alert on my screen. So set it to something really low. And then of course the key one here is you're going to turn on repeat with gift combos. If you don't turn this on, for example, if you receive 10 TikTok gifts, it will only play it once. But we want it to play 10 times. So we're going to press save to save the action. And of course we need an event. So create a new event. Once again, everyone can trigger it. It's sending a specific gift and find the TikTok gift or whatever gift you've chosen. And of course, from my list, I've chosen the correct action. Once again, not randomizing anything, and then just press save. And then as per usual, we can head to the bottom of the page to test it. So we'll use the simulator for the TikTok gift. So usually I'm switching back and forth between TikFinity and Live Studio to see what it looks like. But because the alert's only 1 second this time, I'll put them side by side kind of. Let's just click it a few times. And again, we'll see what happens. I'm going to click it 2 times. And you can see it played twice back to back. So if you want an action to trigger for every single gift, then that's what repeat with gift combos is for. Let's now look at how to set up an alert for a new subscriber. Here's my example, and it's going to play a video and put some text on the screen. In this example, it's going to play the longer version of the Ronaldo Sui video. So let's watch it.
Muchas gracias, afición. Este para vosotros.
Now, before we do the setup, it's worth noting TikFinity has some limitations because TikTok doesn't send subscriber data properly sometimes. So for example, it can't distinguish between gifted and normal subs, and sadly it also can't distinguish between different tiers of sub. But anyway, it's still worth setting up for any new subs. So again, start by making sure screen 1 is properly added to your software, that is Live Studio, OBS or Streamlabs, and check the section where we added URLs if you don't know how to do that. And then let's head back to the top of the actions and events page. And as per usual, you want to make a new action to begin with. So let's look at my action. I've named it subscriber alert. And once again, you can choose anything from the list. In this example, I've downloaded and then uploaded my own Ronaldo Sui video. And then I've checked show alert. And once again, it's their profile picture and username followed by this text. And in this example, I've copied the brackets sub month into the box here. And then I put month sub and a heart. So for example, Harry, thanks for 2-month sub. I should probably add the, to be honest. That's better. So Harry, thanks for the 2-month sub. And again, you can choose any of the other options as well, but we're just showing text on the screen and playing the video. So we'll scroll down and make sure this duration is longer than the length of the video. So 10 seconds was actually good for me. Once again, these other defaults are perfectly fine. So save the action and now create a relevant event. So of course, everyone can trigger the event and it is a subscribe event. And once again, just make sure you select the correct thing from the list. Again, we don't need to randomize it. Although, for example, if you want a random choice between 2 different videos when people subscribe, you could create a second action. But in our example, it's just the same video for every time somebody subs. So we'll press save. And again, we can test it to make sure, and we should test this because it's a video. You either press the play icon or better yet, scroll down and press simulate. So once again, this should play sound.
Muchas gracias, afición. Este para vosotros.
And you can see it saying thanks for the 1-month sub. And as you can see, the text was above the video. So again, double check your settings and your dimensions. For me, I had to increase the height to 1000 to get the text above the video. If you want the text inside the video, then you might lower it, for example, to 600. If we now simulate that again, you can see the text is kind of in the video, and I would probably lower it even more, for example, to 400. Once again, just play around with the dimensions and keep testing it until you are happy. Let's now look at how to add alerts for likes to your live stream. In this example, we're going to trigger an alert once a single viewer has sent 1000 likes in a row, and here's what it looks like. In this example, it puts a heart animation in the background, and while you're live, it'll say thanks for 1000 likes. But while you're testing on TikFinity, it will only say 100 just because you're not actually live and it can't detect the correct number of likes until you're live. So once again, let's look at the setup of this, and we're on the actions and events page. And again, just to reiterate, this one is individual viewers sending likes. We'll look at the like overlays later on for collective likes. But anyway, make sure you're on the overlay screen settings, and as per usual, if not done already, add screen 1 to OBS, Live Studio or Streamlabs, and check the previous relevant section in that video to add it. And let's head back to the top of our page and create a new action. And you can see I've named my action 1000 likes alert. In this one, we just chose an animation, and I chose the heart animation because it seemed relevant. Of course, you can choose anything from this list. We also put the text on the screen. So as per usual, profile picture and username are there by default, followed by thanks for brackets total like count. This one, once again, you can copy and paste that one and then likes. So again, Harry, thanks for 1000 likes. And I didn't use any of the other options. And I'm going to lower the duration to about 3 seconds. The other defaults are great, so I'll press save. And we need the relevant event for this. So let's look at the event. Once again, everyone can trigger it. This time it is sending likes bracket taps, and I've set it to 1000, and I've added the relevant action. And once again, we're not randomizing anything. So once you've chosen your number of likes, just go ahead and press save. And we can't really use the event simulator at the bottom because that only simulates 15. So in our example, we're doing 1000. So you press the play button here. And again, as I showed earlier, for some reason it says 100, but it only says that while you're not live. When you're actually live, if an individual viewer does 1000 taps in a row, it will trigger properly. But anyway, this is only a 3-second one, so let's press play and switch quickly, and you can see it's working properly. And again, if you need to change the dimensions, press settings, and then just tweak the dimensions until it's looking the way you want it. And as I mentioned, we'll look at total likes from all viewers later on. Now, you can also use TikFinity's actions and events page for gaming. And there's two main uses. Firstly, there is a specific Minecraft Java plugin for TikFinity, and you can basically trigger every single Minecraft Java cheat based on follows, gifts, likes, subs, etc. And I'll put my longer tutorial for that in the description. But as you can see here, there's also a keystroke simulator inside the actions and events page. This basically lets your viewers send, again, gifts, follows, subs, likes, or anything like that to control your keyboard in any game that you play, with the usual caveat that you should follow the rules of the relevant game you're playing. And I'll put my full tutorial for the keystroke simulator in the description as well. Let's look at how to add different alerts to different parts of the screen. In this example, I've moved the like alert to the top, and every other alert is where the follower alert is at the bottom. And we do this basically by adding more screens to our software. But before we add the screen, we have to change the screen number underneath actions. So in my example, I only wanted to move the like alerts elsewhere. So I changed it by clicking on the drop down from screen 1 to screen 2. You can also press the pencil icon and scroll down and edit the screen number here and press save. And then, of course, I copied screen 2 and added it to my software. Once again, head back to the section towards the start of the video where I show you how to add alert links properly. And once again, the dimensions are important, so play around with them until they look good. So in our example, let's simulate the like and the follow alerts just by pressing the play buttons. And this should play some sound because the follow alert has sound, so let's listen to that. Let's press play here. And again, you can see they've been nicely separated. And you could add even more screens if you want, but I think for most people, it's fine just leaving everything on the same screen. You play around with it and you find what works best for you. That is the beauty of TikFinity. Every setup can be unique. Let's now look at how to add goal overlays to your live stream. On screen, you can see I have a like goal added, but you can also add it for any other metric such as follows, shares, subs, etc. And this is the number of times it happens per live stream. So it always resets to 0 every time you start the stream. So we're on TikFinity here, clicking onto goal overlays, and we'll look at custom goal overlays later. But for now, we're adding anything from likes down to new subscribers. And these are all basically the same. So what we'll do is we'll just look at customizing the like goal overlay. So let's go through all of the options. So of course, firstly, you want to set the goal. So this is set to 1000 likes for me. And where it says like goal here, that is like goal here in the bottom left. So you could change it to make it more personable. And what I've done is I've set it to double every time. So this makes it harder and harder for my viewers throughout the stream. As the stream gets longer, the like goal gets harder to hit. So 1000, 2000, 4000, 8000, etc. And what you could do is assign an action to this, and it would trigger that action when the goal is hit. For example, you could assign an action that plays a sound when your goal is hit. So let's do that. Let's click create new action. I've named it like goal sound, and we'll check play audio. And we'll just open the sound library and we'll just pick a random one. I'll pick the Discord notification. You can also upload your own sound. And we don't really need anything else. Let's lower the duration to 3 seconds and press save. And you want to make sure screen 1 is added as a URL to Live Studio. You've probably done that already, but check the adding URLs section earlier on if you've not done that. So now we're playing a like goal sound every time we hit our like goal. But of course, we're not done yet because it's not actually added yet into Live Studio, OBS, or Streamlabs. First, let's customize it. So let's drag this to the side a little bit so we can see it. And what you can see I've done nicely is I've got a nice different red and white theme. So just customize that to your brand and your style and press OK. And of course, the final step is to copy the URL. So once again, it might be worth watching the previous section towards the start of the video about copying URLs. The key point here is that the dimensions matter because it dictates the length of the bar. You can see I kind of like 500 by 100, and again, the width is the most important. But for example, if you want a longer bar, let's set it to 800 and press apply. And you can see it's now much longer in terms of the length of the bar. Anyway, I'm going to set mine back to 500 because I kind of like the way that looks. And then of course you just place it wherever you want on your live stream. And I'm also going to rename mine just for good practice. And I'll name this one, I think I'll name it TikFinity Like Goal. And then you can just repeatedly customize all of the other goals that you might want to add to your live stream. Usually I don't see people with more than 2, but you can add whatever you want. Once again, it's better to be unique. So it's now time to get even more complex in the goal overlay section by looking at custom goals. And basically with custom goals, anything that happens in your live stream can be used as a goal. I'm basically talking about any event such as a chat message, a specific gift, a share, or anything else like that. So on the screen, I have two examples. So firstly, we just have an example for a custom rose goal. So the goal is set to 100 roses. And basically every time somebody sends a rose, the bar starts filling up. And the other example we have here is a poll style example. In this example, when the viewers type yes or no into the chat, the bars start filling up. And when it reaches 20, text-to-speech announces the winner. So I'm just spam clicking yes to show you an example of the yes bar filling up, and it will announce a winner.
The yes vote has won.
As you may have heard, I was talking over it, it said the yes vote has won, and then it reset the poll. And I don't have an action triggering on the roses, but once again, I'm just playing this on the side to show you how the bar fills up as people send roses. Anyway, this is more complex, so let's head back to the goal overlays and custom goal 1 to begin. Firstly, if you're not doing a poll, so that for me in the example was vote yes and vote no, then uncheck that for now. And most of us want to reset the custom goal when we start a new stream, but that's up to you. For example, you could leave that unchecked if you want a follower goal for your total number of followers. Anyway, in our example, it's filling up the bar based on roses. So I've set the goal to 100, I've set the title to roses, and we're keeping the goal unchanged, so the bar just goes above 100 once we hit that. And of course, we can customize it and get it looking the way we want it. And then we add the URL to our software. So you can see for me, if I head into the settings, I've chosen a width of 500 and a height of 100. Again, the width is important as it dictates the length of the bar. But unfortunately, because it's quite complex, we're not quite done yet. So let's head back into TikFinity. And we're now heading to the actions and events page, and we create a new action. Now this action, I've named it 100 roses custom goal, and there's not much to do here. Just check control custom goal. And of course, this is custom goal 1. And I've set the duration to 1 second, which doesn't matter too much. And all of the other defaults are fine, except for repeat with gift combos, which is now checked. And that's, for example, if they send 5 roses in one go, it will fill up 5 times instead of once, and press save. And we need an event for this. So everyone can trigger the event. It is sending a specific gift. The gift is the rose, and it's the 100 rose custom goal action, and press save. And now you should be good to go, and you can test it by simulating gift at the bottom. You can spam click it, and you can also press the play button next to the 100 rose custom goal. So we're on 17. If I just spam click it a few times and head back to it, you can see after a very small delay, it increases the goal. So now let's look at the poll option. So in our example, the viewers are voting yes or no on something. And once we hit the required number of votes, which for me is 20, text-to-speech is going to read out loud the result. So let's head back into goal overlays, and we're on custom goal 2. But actually first I'm going to click on settings and make sure we're resetting all custom goals when one goal has been reached. As it says, that's called poll mode. And custom goal 2 is titled vote yes. Custom goal 3 is titled vote no. And of course the goal needs to be the same. So I've set it to 20 people typing yes or no, keeping the goal unchanged. And this time I've made an action named vote yes wins and vote no wins. So let's head to the actions and events page to add that. So press create new action, and this is what it looks like. For me, it's just activating text to speech. So it's the yes vote has won, and I can press test to hear it.
The yes vote has won.
I've set it to 3 seconds. Don't need any of the other options, so just press save and just repeat it with the no vote. I've named it vote no wins.
The no vote has won.
As you can hear, that's what it sounds like. 3 seconds, and all of the other defaults are fine, so press save. Now let's head back to the goal overlays and custom goal 2 and 3. Make sure you just add vote yes wins, so that's this one. And again, add vote no wins. And as per usual, make sure screen 1 is added to Live Studio, OBS, or Streamlabs, and check the very start of the video where I showed how to add URLs. Of course, another URL we're going to add is both custom goal 2 and 3 into your software. Of course, customize it first to get it looking the way you want it and be unique. And then as per usual, it's important that you right click and rename all of your goals so it doesn't just say link and you're not confused about which is which. And again, it's also important that you check the settings to dictate the length of the bar. Again, I like 500, but you might like something else. Again, because it's quite complicated, we're not quite done yet. We actually need another 2 actions and 2 events. So click create new action, and they're called Vote Yes Custom Goal and Vote No Custom Goal. And all we're doing is controlling a custom goal. It's custom goal 2 and then custom goal 3. It's a 1 second duration with all of the other defaults. And like I say, the only difference with the Vote No Custom Goal is you've named it differently and you've chosen Custom Goal 3 instead of 2. You've once again set it to 1 second and accepted all of the other defaults. And now we create 2 new events, and this is based on chat messages. So let's look at the event. So it's commenting a command, and the command is just the word no, and it should be case insensitive, so your viewers can type lowercase as well. And then these are both on 0 for me, and it's just the Vote No Custom Goal, and of course followed by another event, which is exactly the same settings, except the command is yes, and it's the Vote Yes Custom Goal. So again, that is a more complex way to use the goals. And again, we can test these just by pressing the play icons here. So this should just fill up the bar a few times. And as you can see, I've now got 5 votes for yes and 3 votes for no. Just to confirm it works, let's spam click vote no a few times to hear the text to speech. So I'm going to spam click it about 15 times.
The no vote has won.
And as you heard, and as you can see, the no votes won. And as you can see, it's now resetted because we're in poll mode. Next up, let's look at how to add profile pictures and usernames using the last X overlays. For example, the last follower, the last gifter, or the last subscriber. So again, click on last X overlays on the left and you can see all the different examples. They're all very similar. So for example, because subscribing is important, let's put the last person who subscribed on the screen. So we start by customizing it. And for example, I might want to turn the font from this white to a yellow color. And I might want to enable a little background to make it stand out. So I've done those two, and I strongly suggest you customize it the way you want it. If you can't see anything, just press test. And as you can see, it says test user, but it already had a previous subscriber on this screen for me. So just press OK once you're happy with the customization of it. And then of course, we're just going to copy it into our software using the usual method we have to copy the URLs. Of course, we've talked about this a lot, but you just add it as a link source or a browser source in OBS or Streamlabs. Once again, custom resolution is important here. This is quite small, so we can probably get away with a height of 80 and a width of something like 400. Again, you might have to play around with this. You can see it's now on the screen. I got to shrink it down a bit. If I'm really pedantic, I might just reduce the width a bit, but it's just blank space anyway. And what I'm definitely going to do is right click, rename the link source, and just name it last sub. And then I'll just place it wherever I want it on my live stream. Now, what you also might want to do is add a text source. So this should be very similar on all 3 major pieces of software. So you press add source and find the text option and press add. And then you might just want to put last sub. You can see we've got a load of different presets, for example, here on Live Studio. I'll just press add source to add that in. You can see it took a few seconds to appear, but for example, I might want to put it above the TikFinity overlay here. And now it's more obvious what happened. I would also suggest just locking them into place when you're happy with their placement. And once again, you can just repeat that with all of the other options. So follower, gifter, subscriber, share, like, and chatter. And the settings at the bottom dictate how often it refreshes. For example, if you're getting a ton of likes, then here, when I've got it to 0.5 seconds, it's going to change the profile picture on the person every 0.5 seconds. You may wish to increase this. For example, you could set it to 3 seconds. And if you want a smoother fade, you might want to raise the number of milliseconds, for example, to 200. Anyway, that's just a nice way to permanently show names on the screen for the last, sub, follow, etc. Let's now look at how to add your top gifters to the screen, like so. And this is our first use of the overlay gallery. So we're going to click on overlay gallery on the left and then find the top gifters option. And if it's blank like here, you might want to just click test to see the pop-up. And then of course, start by customizing it and getting it looking the way you want it. For example, I might want to change the background color to yellow. So here's a nice yellow background. And you can just keep pressing test to see the way it looks. For example, if you change the alpha to 1, then that's a completely normal background. If you change the alpha to 0, then that is a completely see-through background. So we'll just use a see-through background and again, play around with it, make it unique for your live stream and press OK once you've customized it. And as per usual, we're going to copy the URL and add it to our software. And again, it's the usual process of adding URLs. In Live Studio, we're going to add it as a link source. so the link option here. And as per usual, it's a browser source in OBS or Streamlabs. And you can see for me, I tried a width of 300 and a height of 800. And to see it on your screen, just press test again and head back into your software and you'll see it on the screen. You can see it's not exactly very clear. So I think that's why TikFinity adds an alpha of about 0.4 here in the background. If I just press OK and press test again, it's more readable with a bit of a background. Now, as you see, this is currently my top 9 gifters. What if I want top 3? Well, all you have to do is edit the dimensions. So I just have to reduce the height and you have to play around with this a bit. Let's just try 300 by 300. And let's press test and go back to it. And you can see it's cut it down to 4. So I would just keep tweaking the height, maybe about 220. And yep, there's 220. And now it's showing only my top 3 gifters. Let's now look how to add our top likers onto our live stream. And once again, we're in the overlay gallery and we're going to click on top liker from the drop down list. And again, if you can't see anything, just press test to see what it looks like. And again, I strongly suggest you customize it and get it to fit the style of your live stream. You can keep pressing test to see what it looks like. And once you're happy, press OK and copy the URL. And as per usual, add it as a link source into Live Studio or a browser source into OBS or Streamlabs. And for me, I've gone with the same as the previous top gifters one, just showing the top 3 likers. So I'm going to try the same dimensions again, the height of 220 and the width of 300. And again, I've renamed it to top likers. Make sure you're always renaming your sources. So let's go back into TikFinity and press test. And switching into Live Studio, you can see it's now showing my top 3 likers. And based on my placement, I probably want to change the text from white to a different color because it's kind of clashing with the clouds in my background. So I would change the font color points, for example, to something like yellow, and I would test it. And there you go. It now looks better. Once again, you just keep playing with the overlay settings until your top likers or top gifters is looking the way you like it. Now let's just review the overlay gallery page in general, because overall they're all just very similar in terms of you just copy the relevant URL that you want and add it as a link source to Live Studio or a browser source to OBS or Streamlabs. And for nearly everything in the overlay gallery, you can press the test button to see what it looks like. And I strongly encourage you to customize anything that you are adding so it is unique and fits the vibe of your live stream. Now, I showed you the 2 most popular ones from the overlay gallery in terms of top gifters and top likers. But again, have a scroll through and see if there's anything else that you would like to add. And one thing I do commonly see people adding is song requests. But before we add that, let's scroll down the menu and click on song requests to get this configured. So firstly, this is Spotify song requests, and you need a Spotify premium subscription for this page. And I will put my longer Spotify guide in the description. There'll be a button in the top right corner to connect your pro account. And then basically, of course, you just configure this page the way you like it. And it explains the commands that your viewers can type into chat. For example, to play songs or skip tracks. And then looking into the settings, of course, in reality, I should be starting Spotify. And I'm going to let the viewers use the !play command. We'll cover channel points later, but this is a way to limit the frequency of the song requests alongside at the bottom where it says commands available for, and you might want to uncheck all users so only subs and mods can do it. But again, if you wanted the gifters to do it as well, you can just reward channel points for gifts, which is covered later in this video. For example, we can charge them 10 points per play, and we could charge them 1 point to skip if that's enabled too. And I've increased the queue length to 10, and they can only select 2 tracks per user in my example. And it says display overlay permanently, but of course we have to add the overlay. So we're going to head back to the overlay gallery now that our song requests are configured and click on song requests. Again, you can press test to see what it looks like and customize it. For example, if I want to change this to yellow, I might set this to yellow and press test to see what it looks like and press OK when I'm happy with the customization. And as per usual, we're going to copy the URL and add it to our software. So we're adding this as a link source into Live Studio or a browser source in OBS or Streamlabs. Once again, I recommend a custom resolution and you want to play around with this until it looks great. Don't forget to right-click rename it. I've named it TikFinity Songs because Song Requests was too long apparently. And click into TikFinity and press test to see what it looks like. So here it is. In my example, I just might want to expand it like this, or you can also increase the font sizes, and you would do that in the customization settings here, and keep pressing test until it looks the way you want it. I might also change the white text to a different color. So with all that set up, your viewers can now play songs on your Spotify while you're live. So it's now time to cover channel points. And there is a few different ways you can award channel points and plenty of ways your viewers can spend channel points. So firstly, if you click on the setup page, this is one way to award channel points. It's just under the point system at the top. And firstly, you could just rename your channel points to a more unique currency. I'll just leave mine as points. And for example, if I only want to award points to people who are sending me money, then I would uncheck the points per share or points per chat minute. So in my current example, they get 1 channel point for every coin they send. As you can see a bit further down, there is also a subscriber bonus ratio. For example, I might want to award double points, i.e. 100%, to anybody who is subscribed. And a little further down, there's also the level system with a multiplier. And if you press the drop down list, it shows examples of the number of points they need for each specific level based on the multiplier and the level points that you've got set. So before we get on to spending channel points, there is another way we can reward channel points, and that is via the actions and events page. Basically, on any action, you can take away or add channel points. So if I want to give somebody channel points for subscribing, for example, then firstly, make yourself a subscriber alert and go back to the relevant section where we have a subscriber alert, and then just edit your sub alert. And I scroll down a little bit, and where it says, should the trigger user receive a reward, I'm going to press add points. And of course, you just have to think about your point system and be proportionate. So I'm giving 1 point for every coin that they send. So maybe in my example, I think, how much is a sub? So if a sub is $3, for example, that might be 300 points in my example. And then of course, you've set up the rest of the subscriber alert already. So we're just editing it. So you don't change anything else and press save. And now for every monthly sub, your viewer gains 300 channel points. And of course, you can do that for anything. So you can add points for a like, a follow, a specific gift, a generic gift, any event that you can trigger. Anyway, I like the way we've set it up to gain channel points there. So again, to recap, what we've done is we've got 300 points for subscribing. Or if we go to the setup page, we've got 1 point per coin received. In other words, anytime somebody sends me money, they're gaining channel points. Now the fun part, how do we display the channel points and how can they spend them? But let's head back to the overlay gallery. And if I click on ranking list, this is a list of the people with the highest channel points. If you want to add this to your live stream, you would once again copy the URL and add it as a link source to Live Studio or a browser source to OBS or Streamlabs and fully customize it and get it looking the way you want it. If I click up to user info screen, you might also wish to add this overlay to your live stream. And here the user can type !points into the chat and it will briefly pop up, as you can see in the example, the number of points that they've got. If we want to change the !points command, let's click on chat commands. And you can see it is this one here, !points. Again, if you've got a custom currency, then you might want to change this to your custom currency name. And there's some other relevant options on this page as well. Let's quickly head back to the overlay gallery and the command info screen. As it says, the command info screen is for commands other than the points. For example, when people transfer points, you might want to add that as well. So we've helped the viewers find out how many points they have, but now of course, how do they spend the points? So there is quite a few ways for your viewers to spend points. Let's begin on the actions and events page. And for example, let's play a video and charge them 100 points to play the video. They're going to trigger this video by typing a chat command. So we need a new action. I'll name it 100 point video and choose play video file. Again, your viewers could trigger any of these things for channel points. And of course, just upload any video. For example, this Homer Simpson Donuts video is what I'm going to upload. And then once you've chosen what the viewers are spending points on, crucially, we have to charge them points. Of course, first, just make sure the duration is set to the length of the video or whatever you're showing on the screen. This is how long it shows for. So I'm going to change it to 6 seconds. And of course, we are removing points this time. So I said 100 points. So we are removing 100 points. Just leave it on screen 1 and make sure screen 1 is added and check the section towards the start of this video where I show you how to add screen 1 as a URL. The other defaults are fine, so we'll press save. And we need an event, and we're going to let everyone trigger this event. And in my setup, in reality, the only people with points are the people sending me money. And this is commenting a command. So for example, I could type $donuts and scroll down. We'll leave these both on 0. Although if you only want higher levels to spend these points, then you could raise that. But for my example, leave it on 0. It's the 100-point video being triggered, and press save. And you can press the play icon to make sure your action has added properly to Live Studio, OBS, or Streamlabs. So let's do that.
Donuts.
And as you can see, it's been properly added. So now my viewers can spend their channel points only when they have 100 or more to trigger that video. And if they have less than 100 and they type $donuts, the video just doesn't trigger. Now the actions and events page is one place that the viewers can spend channel points. There is other places. For example, towards the start of the video, we mentioned text to speech. You could charge people channel points for sending a text to speech message. And this might be a nice way to limit the text to speech messages, although you can also just do that with the spam protection at the bottom. As we saw earlier, song requests can also charge channel points, and again, that's just a nice way to limit the number of song requests you're getting. And I've not really covered the Wheel of Fortune because I know often TikTok doesn't like gambling, and it can be perceived as gambling depending on how you're using it. But the Wheel of Fortune is also based on channel points. If you want to do a channel points giveaway, then that's this points drop page. And you just make sure, as it says up here, you add the points drop overlay to your software. You can even drop coins automatically. And in this example, the viewers have to type $get. And in this example, I'm dropping 5 lots of 1 coin. You can read through the challenge and halving pages, which are also relevant to channel points. In general, channel points are just a great way for your viewers to interact with your live stream. And it's basically a way to reward them for doing events like sending likes, subs, follows, gifts, etc. Finally, for channel points, let's just cover this user and points page and this transactions page. Basically, transactions just shows every time somebody gets added or removed channel points. So again, in my examples, if people subscribe or send you coins, here it says plus 300 for a subscriber. And of course, when they spend it by typing a chat command or however they spend it, it would say minus the number of points. Of course, user and points, you can press any of the drop downs to filter it. This is showing the person with the most points. But what if I want to clear this database? Because as you can see, I've got a max of 100,000 and you might have lower. So let's click onto setup and I'll click on reset points. And we can erase them by specific criteria. In this example, they have to have less than 2 points and have been inactive for over 60 days, and that would delete 3,000 people. Or you can just press this button to erase all the points and completely reset everything. Depending on your stream setup, some people might just want to erase all the points and levels every live stream. Alright, so now let's look at how to activate the chatbot, which can automatically type messages into your TikTok live stream. Now this is the chatbot page, but first double check by going onto the setup page and clicking on TikTok login. And the account you've logged in here will be the account that is typing into your TikTok chat. So typically that should be your account, although theoretically it could be a moderator account as well. If you think you might have the wrong one added, just press log out and then log in again. But you should have the correct one added. We did that at the start. So now let's head back to the chatbot. And of course, firstly, we'll just activate the chatbot. Now the chatbot isn't perfect, unfortunately, because TikTok often rate limits the amount of messages you can type. So underneath spam protection, you can see you can do anywhere from 1 to 5 messages per 15 seconds. But even with it set to 5 messages, it still might not show all 5. So I'm just limiting it to 2 messages per 15 seconds. And what we'll do is we'll use the chatbot for key events that happen in our live stream. And for me, I think that is people subscribing and people sending high value gifts. So let's look at those 2 examples on how to use the chatbot for that. So let's head to the actions and events page. And if you don't have a subscriber alert set up already, head back to the section of the video where I set one up. And let's just edit our subscriber alert. And this has got progressively more complex throughout the video. We're going to make it even more complex now by finding the send chatbot message section. And I'm going to copy the alert. So just Control-C, Control-V. And then I'm just going to add in brackets username and change it to lowercase t. And the chatbot message, i.e. my account, is now going to say, for example, Harry, thanks for the 2-month sub. So that will be typed into the chat for all the viewers to see. And again, we don't need to change any of the other settings because we set this up earlier on. So press save. And of course, you can only test this while you're live, but you could press simulate subscribe while you're live and you would see the chat message being typed. And in fact, you can simulate it when you're not live. So just press simulate and click on a chatbot and you can see it's in the log here. And actually, I don't need the username. So let's go back and delete that. So we'll edit the subscriber alert and we'll delete username because it looks like it's already typed by default. So they got this nice little log here, which simulates any chat messages even when you're not live. So let's set up the other example I mentioned. Let's do high value gifts. And for me, let's set up a 500 gift threshold. For this one, I'm going to duplicate the generic gift alert. So I'll press the copy button and then press yes. You can see it's added at the bottom. And I've renamed it to 500 plus coin gift alert. And we'll keep the gift alert as the same with the KEKW image. And it says thanks for repeat count gift name. But again, we'll send a chatbot message. And again, I'm just going to copy and paste the show alert user plus text into this box. So again, it would say, Harry, thanks for 3 money gun. And maybe because this gift is a little bit more valuable than the others, I'm going to raise it to 8 seconds and press save. And of course, we need a relevant event for this. So it is sending a gift with min coins value. It's now 500. I press select and it is a 500 plus coin gift alert and press save. So if I scroll down and if I simulate a gift that is more than 500 coins, well, 500 or more coins to be completely clear. So let's simulate the money gun. If I press simulate
Test
gift,
user thanks for 1 money gun.
you can see it's triggered properly with the text-to-speech that we had added, but it didn't actually show in the log. It's shown now because for some reason underneath actions, you have to simulate it here, but not down here. So that's probably just a little bug inside TikFinity. So if you want it to show in the simulated message log, just press the play icon next to the action. And you can see for me, the message has appeared here. In reality, if I received a money gun, it would say money gun and not Rose. So again, the chatbot is great for key events happening in your live stream. Again, just keep in mind it gets rate limited by TikTok. You can click this link for the troubleshooting guide if you find that it doesn't work very well. Next up, let's look at a way to encourage even more likes in your live stream. And this is the Likeathon page. You might have to scroll down a bit to find it. And firstly, what we're going to do is enable reduction. And as you can see, this is going to reduce their score, which is the number of likes they've sent, by 10% every 10 seconds. So if they want to keep their rank high, they have to continually send you likes. And of course, they need to see where they are in the like ranking. And so you need to copy the URL. This is just the top liker overlay and add it into Live Studio as a link source or as a browser source into OBS or Streamlabs. And we covered the top liker overlay earlier on, so you can head back to that section to see how to set that up. Let's now look at how to set up a subathon. And this basically extends a timer on your live stream and means you have to stream that length of time based on people sending any of the stuff here. In my example, it's set so only the subathon timer is extended when people subscribe, but you can also add seconds onto your timer based on coins, follows, shares, likes, and chat messages too. And in my example here, I'm thinking about how much I want to earn per hour of live streaming. So if my sub is set to $5, and if I want to earn $20 an hour, then I need 4 subs every hour. And so that's 15 minutes per sub, which is 900 seconds. Again, in reality though, keep in mind TikTok takes a cut. So this is just a simplistic example. I'd actually end up with less than $5 per sub. But anyway, you can configure the number of seconds per all of these metrics the way you want it. Of course, set yourself a default value because theoretically you're supposed to end the stream when the timer hits 0. Although again, that's on you to actually end the stream. And you can add an action. For example, you could add a text-to-speech action to speak out loud when the timer hits 0. Of course, you can press start to begin the timer, but first, let's reset it. So first click customize and get the overlay settings looking the way you want them, unique to your live stream, and press copy URL. And once again, as per usual, we're adding a link source into Live Studio or a browser source in OBS and Streamlabs. It's quite small, so let's just try 100 by 100 to begin with. And as per usual, we might have to play around with it. In actual fact here, I've got the width nowhere near, so let's try a width of 500. And I need more height as well, so let's try a height of 150. That looks a lot better. You can see I'll have to shrink it down a bit, and it's actually way too wide now. But anyway, you just keep playing around with the timer and get it looking the way you want it. And then when you're live, make sure you just start the timer. And then the goal is to encourage people, in my example, to subscribe. and it will add 900 seconds on per sub. So basically I have to stream longer the more subs I get. It's a good way to incentivize people to subscribe and send you money, and it's kind of a fun challenge for your viewers. I'll put a longer guide to subathons in the description. So what we've looked at there is basically all of the key features of TikFinity for the regular users. There is more advanced guides if you just scroll through my YouTube channel for things such as StreamerBot and webhooks, and those are for the power users who really want even more features. For example, StreamerBot can easily run custom code. If you check in the top right corner of TikFinity, you'll see there's a link to their Discord server if you are seeking support. And if you still don't have a TikTok live stream key, you can watch this video.